It's just really important to express yourself. It really goes without saying it's important to express yourself. And, I found that you really don't know what it is to express yourself until you've kind of seen all sides of it. You have to come into contact with what you are not in order to have a better understanding of what you are. And, you have to have your boundaries pushed, and you have to have your preconceived notions of who or what you are. They have to be challenged. And they're going to be challenged in some way or another. That's really just an undeniable fact of life. It's just that your preconceived notions and any underlying insecurities or sense of woundedness or anything that you are holding on to will be exposed in the gauntlet of life, if you want to put it like that. It's not necessarily a gauntlet or a trial. Life is not even necessarily a trial. It's just a process. It's just a process we go through. But it can certainly feel, sometimes it can feel like a test. But you know what's being tested, and what's feeling that pressure are the limitations that you hold on to inside of yourself. That's where the real sense of limitation, because it's like if you create boundaries in yourself, you're creating a greater sense of rigidity upon which the forces of life can bind. It's like life is flowing, water flows through a river channel, energy flows through your body, it flows through your mind, it flows through your life. And to create these conceptual boundaries about what you like and what you don't like and who you are and who you aren't, it's like to dam up the river. It's like to put a lot of debris in the river's path, and then watch as the water struggles to flow over it. And I don't even know if water really struggles. I don't know if it's the flow of life that struggles. It's more that the dam itself struggles to retain its rigidity. Because eventually the water just goes over it or under it or around it, and then eventually the dam breaks free anyway. And because the flow doesn't stop, it just keeps moving through. So, that's kind of the thing. And we just kind of, sometimes we identify in the resistance towards flow more than the flow itself. And we have a very basic way of relating the difference between the two. If you're it's like you choose love is to choose flow. To choose fear is to choose resistance. You can justify your attachments to fear. Oh no, but it's not me doing it, it's the other person. It's the other person, it's the circumstances, it's these things, and you can point your finger and, justify. You get into that kind of thinking, which is just a way of thinking too. It's not an objective truth. It's not an objective truth that, life is victimizing you or oppressing you. But there are times where it feels as though you're feeling elevated, sense of pressure, and that there are these things that are kind of seeming to hold you down. But it's really a relative point of view. Because ultimately your consciousness can never be held down. Some of the shapes that arise in consciousness can be manipulated or held down. They can be worked upon or altered. But they're just shapes inside the being. They're not the being itself. The being is what you are experiencing yourself as more and more as you go through this process. Every challenge you experience is just eroding your boundaries, eroding your limitations. And not to say that boundaries are necessarily bad. There's such a thing as setting healthy boundaries and that kind of thing. But usually those reveal themselves more intuitively as you go anyway, and don't need to be thought about so much. But limitations will always feel the strain as your consciousness expands, your awareness grows, your understanding widens, your compassion becomes broader, more unconditional, more universal.